I'm going to let you watch something very clumsy, which is me trying to get this carrier assembly out of this differential. What we're using here is 2 pry bars. We're staying away from this open section. We're staying on the front part of the carrier where it's just metal, just steel. And we've got to pop this thing loose because, again, we've got pretty much the proper preload on our carrier, so it's snug in there. And boy, is it snug. So generally, if you get behind it, there we go. Sorry, I was trying to stay out of your way and do that at the same time. So now the carrier's loose in there. Put the pin back in here. And the carrier's loose in there now. So now we can lift it, get our shims out of the way. Usually I start by just getting rid of this first shim pack. Give ourselves some freedom to move. Okay. Now we can do things. So we said we wanted to move it 7 thousandths. We want to tighten backlash 7 thousandths. We want to move the pinion gear that far, that direction, 7 thousandths. These are the shims that just came out. We want to add to it 10 thousandths of an inch shims. Not sure exactly what we have. Let's look at our shim collection here. We have some very small ones. As you can tell by the fact that they're almost waffled. There's actually several of them there. They're that small. We also have some larger ones, which you gotta feel their differences, but let's use our mic. And get an idea, because whatever we add to this side, we have to take away from that side in order to keep our preload for our carrier. So that is takes me a minute to read these things. That's 1/10 of an inch. It's 1/2 an inch. Or excuse me, 50 thousandths. And that's 25, 30. It's about 32 thousandths of an inch right there. Definitely too large. Let's check this one. Whoa, trying to drop them. Okay, that one's about 20 thousandths of an inch. We go down to these very small ones. Ones that won't even lay straight, they're so small. That one looks to be about 6.5 thousandths. That one may yet be the one we use. That one's about 12.5 thousandths. This may be the one I measured just now. Yeah, it's about 6 thousandths. And we can't always use these in combination. Stack them together to get what we're aiming for. That's about 19 thousandths. one's about 6 thousandths. I think what we're going to do, we're going to take the two 6 thousandths, which is going to give us 12 thousandths. We're going to add them to this shim pack. So 12 thousandths should give us pretty close to 8 or so thousandths of movement in our backlash, we think. So we're going to make some space here, very carefully. Like so. Grab our shim pack. Okay, shim pack on that side should always go in easily because you've got tons of room on this side. And then on this side, we added 12 thousandths to this side. So on this side we need to take away about 12 thousandths. So let's see what we've got to take away. We've got two shims in here, which look to be just about the same size. I'm going to measure this one. This one's about 30 thousandths, 31 thousandths. So we want to take away 12, and we need about 19 or 20 thousandths. Replace this one with a 19 or 20 thousandth shim. Let's set it right there, and let's pick up a few. And do some testing. I really should write them down and put them on a cardstock or something. So that's about 12. We're going for 19 to 20 thousandths. Look at there, 19 thousandths. So we're going to install 19 thousandths in here, and then we're going to put the shim pack together. Lay these shims out of the way, and then we can install this shim pack. Now this shim pack has a preload pretty snug, so not so easy to get that one down in there. So we take our soft blow, or dead blow rather, give it a nice tap, grab our shim driver, and there we are, shim in place. And with any luck, we retained our carrier preload. Pretty sure we did by the way the shims went in. They went in with force, but not excessive. So we will run these guys down and torque it up. Apologies, I lost my socket. Go to 90 foot-pounds. Once again, yeah, I think I told you, but one source said 60, one source said 90. They can handle 90, so we're doing 90. Okay. Torque to 90. Gonna grab our dial indicator here. Okay. We're somewhere close there. No preload. There it is. My bad. Let me adjust this a little bit. There we go. This paint gets everywhere. We will clean that off later before final installation. So we're from 2 on that side to 4 on that side. 4, 4, 4, 4. Basically, we're very close. It looks like 8. 1, 2, 3, excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 6. So we're very close to 6 on the backlash. Now, generally speaking, with new gears, you believe what people say, you probably want to be toward the tighter side, only because the gears are going to wear in initially, on initial operation. They're brand new gears. Contact surfaces are going to wear a little bit. So I'm thinking we're happy, but I'm going to look at this some more. 3 on that side, 4 on that side, 3 on that side, 0, 4 on that side, 0. That's 7 thousandths backlash. I don't know if you can hear it. Got a little bit of a thump. We're around 6 to 7. And again, the backlash specification from Ford's 8 to 10, from Yukon 6 to 10, excuse me, 8 to 12 rather, and 6 to 10. If we're going to fault in any direction, we want to fault toward the tighter side, which would be the 6 to 8, just because of wear in for new gears. I think I'm good with it. 6 to 7 thousandths. I'm there. I'm happy. So that's where we're going to leave it for now. Let's check now our gear tooth mesh pattern, or whatever you want to call it. That's what I'm going to call it. Turn this upward. And this thing does turn fairly freely by the pinion gear. By the ring gear, it's tighter, and well, by 3.55 times the gear ratio. So let's go ahead and paint these little teeth back up. A nice even coating. And we're going to go ahead and do a few extra teeth, since hopefully we're not going to be doing this a whole bunch more times. We can use some of this up. Maybe we can get a even better look at the pattern. And we go in there heavy enough that it's not telling you any tales. As I hope y'all understand, it's my first time out here. So you feel free to correct me where I'm wrong. Fill up the comments with corrections. Don't be harsh though. Okay. Now you want to be sure too, when you do this, that you go forward and backward. Don't just pass it through forward one time and read, because then you won't necessarily have markings on both the coast and the drive side. Okay. As it should be. You'll notice, hopefully you can see, I'm not exactly sure. See if I can make you see better. So you'll see that on the, I believe this is the coast side, that we're definitely toward the toe. We're not on the toe. Notice it stops short of the toe, but we're definitely on the toe side. And we look at the drive side. Hopefully you can see that we are slightly toward the toe side and toward the middle. That is indicative of slightly tight backlash. So what that says is, as we suspect, our backlash is 6 to 7. Our gear pattern indicates that, which tells us two things. Our pinion gear height is good, and if, again, do you want to run a tighter backlash initially, or do you want to set it slightly looser? It's within Yukon spec. It's slightly out of Ford spec. Ford says 8 to 10, excuse me, 8 to 12. Yukon says 6 to 10. I think we're going to leave it there because, again, we're going to get break-in on these gears, and this pattern in practice will move more toward the center as these gears mesh with the pinion for a time and everything smooths out. Any work, any tooth working remnants are done. So I like it. There's one thing I meant to do earlier I didn't do, which is to check the run out. So we're going to check. All right, talk about run out. On run out, what we're trying to make sure is that our ring gear is in line with the pinion, or the carrier, excuse me. That could mean that it's not quite pressed on right, something got caught under the edge of it. Could mean the housing is a little out of whack. So what we're doing here is we've put the dial indicator against the back. Now this is a bit of a rough surface. It's not going to give us a real steady reading, but we're going to turn the ring gear through a rotation, and we're going to monitor the deviation there. And we're started about 1/2 thousandth, maybe 1,000th on the dial indicator, and we're just going to keep going around. And notice the variation right now is very small, maybe 1,000th total variation thus far. So maybe 1,000.5 variation, plus or minus, no, not even, plus or minus 3/4, maybe plus or minus 1,000. But the run out specification is 3,000ths. So we're definitely within the specification for run out. If run out was excessive, what would we do? Well, we do a few things, I guess. We check and make sure we had good mating, make sure we didn't have something got caught between the carrier and the ring gear whenever we pressed it on. So, but we're happy. We're definitely within the 3,000ths. I mean, we're way within the 3,000ths. So, thrilled on that. So we're staying with what we got. We're staying with this pattern, slightly tight backlash, within spec for Yukon specs, but maybe it's slightly tight for the Ford spec, and we're going to let that relax on its own as the back to their new gears as those wear against one another a bit. We were happy with the preload on the carrier. We were happy with the preload on the pinion. Technique for measuring preload on the pinion, I'm sure everybody's going to have their opinion. It worked for me, and it kept me within reasonable finances on getting this job done, I think reasonably accurately, and not getting the job done at all. So the next steps, and we'll cover it in another video, is we're going to disassemble it, wash this thing really good with a paint thinner and a spray gun. Basically just spray everything down, spray all the parts down, spray the bearings down, spray the shims down. Just we're going to clean it up really well and get it ready for reassembly. If I haven't shown you, I did. All the bearings were oiled here locally so that we could manipulate without causing damage to the bearings, hopefully. And pretty happy with that. Seems to have done okay. We'll also be cleaning this iron oxide paint off when we do this. Won't matter actually if you leave it on, according to the sources I have seen. Whenever we reinstall it, we've got to put axle bearings and axle seals. We also need to put the pinion seal in. We also need to install the crush sleeve. So all of those parts we have. One other item that we're going to install, I'll show it to you here. One other item we're going to install as well is a national bearing kit. It's a I don't know, I call them micro seals. But basically this is going to go on the pinion flange so that we have a fresh surface for our pinion seal to ride against. The other one does have a slight, you catch a nail in it where the old seal rubbed against the back side of the pinion flange. So this is the driver tool for it. So we'll tap that on and basically refresh where the pinion seal rubs. Here's the crush sleeve. We'll be putting it on. Here are the axle seals. This is an extra crush sleeve in case we over tighten. Do not have an extra pinion nut. And then these little wonders, these are the axle bearings, which started all this mess pretty much. So here's the axle bearings that will be going into these slots. Axle goes through and it gauges the 28 spline area up inside the differential on the CV, or the half axles that go from here down to the wheels. So we'll leave it at that. We'll come back with another video and we'll get this thing cleaned up, assembled, and stuck in the truck. I'm done with this rear end. I'm tired of it. Ready to move on. Got other things to do. Later, man.